Do I think there's going to be another black swan? Of course, 100%. I just don't know exactly what it is. The only one that's going to be an interesting one to watch, and I don't even know how he calls a black swan, because I feel like black swan by definition can't really be, it's like predicted. Oh, didn't see that happening.
Yeah.
The U.S. government is going after Tether. That is clear to me. I view Tether as a very important part of the ecosystem, and I don't know how to predict.
First of all, I think that the JP Morgan analysis is missing the fact that Tether has over $20 billion in additional assets that could be repurposed and in order to cover the potential of their servicing T-bills. Tether has already more than $115 billion in U.S. Treasuries. We are not new to change our portfolio and make it more conservative, increasing the amount of T-bills.
Crypto's correlation with the Magnificent Seven. I was asked a couple of weeks ago, what do I think of? What do I think of crypto? And I don't know whether you remember an old song that was by a guy named Edwin Starr. It was War. What is it good for? Insert
Absolutely
crypto
nothing.
here. Absolutely nothing.
Substack news items earlier this week about our crypto presidency, because I think under all the tariff talk and deregulation talk and Doge, he published an executive order in January saying we are going to be the crypto capital of the world. Explicit government support. And so I'm not surprised that between the election and January, we had a huge run in crypto, including Bitcoin. The caution I have gets back to something Gene was just talking about, which is the possibility of a correction in Mag 7 and tech generally. At the end of the day, crypto is fintech. It's financial technology, right? That's all it is. And it tends to trade like leveraged small cap fintech. So when technology stocks go up, often, not always, but often crypto goes up. And what I found is that if you go back a decade, every time the NASDAQ fell more than 5% in a month, Bitcoin fell more often than not, the majority of the time, by 5% on the month or more. Gold, just for context, was up.
And reiterating plans to impose tariffs on imported automobiles starting in early April. It caps a week full of tough talk on trade, but not a lot of concrete action. Despite those threats, European markets having a strong start to the year. Germany's DAX, in fact, trading at record highs. But Rebecca, you're saying to tread lightly here in Europe, in part, I guess, because of tariff fears. And what would have to go right for Europe to get more of your money?
Yeah, I mean, I think the rally we've seen in Europe and the outperformance, a big chunk of that is that we had extremely low valuations. No one owned it anymore. So it was ripe for a recovery, but you needed a catalyst to get people more confident about growth. The fact that President Trump hasn't launched immediately onto Europe with tariffs, just threatened a few things, but no clear date on a lot of it, I think that was a relief. And that relief said, okay, maybe we're going to have better growth than we feared.
So far, bark worse than bite, but
right.
So far.
And that's why I'm a little cautious, because I think we are going to see more tariffs coming.
Hey. Well, it's tough to call every 10% twist and turn in a new technology like this, Scott. But it seems to me like traders and people that are more focused on short-term outlooks may be looking at Doge and saying, well, they may be actually eliminating some of this profligate government spending, which is bad for something that effectively will be the check and balance on that. But when you actually dig into the math on Doge, I think reality is good.
Investments last weekend, CEO Ryan Cohen posted a photo on X with Michael Saylor, co-founder of MicroStrategy.
Microsoft to do it.
The big. I've seen that, but I thought in the strategy of what is GameStop now? It's got to. We've always wondered how they transition from bricks and mortar to everything that you get online for gaming now.
Yeah, I'm not sure that saying we're going to hold Bitcoin is, you want to hold, you can just go hold Bitcoin. And I know that strategy, acolytes think that they've been, reinvented the wheel here on a more profitable way to do so. But the idea that you're going to get bailed out as a company.
Welcome to the Crypto Teacher. And I come back with that video just to make you think.
Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel.
And make sure you're joining the Patrons. If you're not a part of the Patrons, make sure you're hitting the Cash App. And also, guys, make sure you go like and follow the TikTok. More videos to come. And we have Tether CEO saying that they can be compliant. But guys, we know if they're not compliant in Europe, they're definitely not going to be compliant for the U.S. But that doesn't mean the Fed can't use them to circulate this dollar in the emerging markets, South America, and the Middle East. Remember how many treasuries they own. And will AI, Bitcoin, and crypto get a big correction? And yes, we're definitely going to get a correction, but I don't see a big crash. We know the Fed has plenty of ammo. Scott Bessent has plenty of ammo. And don't forget, he's a George Soros guy. He's a hedge fund guy. There is a bigger plan behind this. I'm starting to see the pieces come together. I'm just waiting on Scott Bessent's first move. Now, we see Trump keep talking about tariffs, but then we also see tariffs are being timed with the Fed. They don't want to tank the market. So as the Fed cuts, we'll see tariffs pick up. And also as the job market weakens. And starting on this back half and going forward, we're going to see layoffs pick up, bankruptcies pick up, small banks and businesses start to close. Remember, Trump has 4 years to land us in this fourth industrial revolution. And remember, the crypto teacher told you. And we have GameStop looking to add Bitcoin. But we know when it comes to GameStop, they're definitely going to move online. And we know all these games are going to be using some type of cryptocurrency. And with all this technology, you can go to certain countries and see the birthplace. But when you look at South Korea, they've been using tokens in these video games. And remember, the crypto teacher told you. Now we have Trump on reciprocal tariffs. And again, guys, these dates are being moved to the future because they're actually timing the tariffs right along with the Fed moves. But we see China's tariffs are being applied now. And tariffs are nothing but taxes. And we know these tariffs are going to eventually be charged to the actual consumer. Remember, they want to crush this legacy market so this digital economy can rise. And we see the question, is the Fed going to cut? And we know the Fed is definitely going to cut because the jobs market is going to get weak. And then these tariffs are definitely going to be applied. It's just going to be gradual. And we had Jerome Powell already told us the Fed is manipulating that long end of the yields to keep this market up. And we're seeing the Fed repo dwindle down. That means yield rates are going to start moving up. But again, they have enough ammo to keep yield rates down, was not going to actually crush the market just yet. So I do see yield rates climbing, just not out of control. And of course, with all this bad news, still inflation, tariffs, yields climbing, we see the stock market brushing it off. Guys, we know this is nothing but a simulation. The algorithm already knows what's going to happen. And remember, the crypto teacher told you, because he knows when it comes to the NWO, it's all planned out. You have a wonderful day.
They charge us nothing, we charge them nothing. And it really works out well. And we'd be very happy to have nothing and nothing. We wouldn't have any tariffs at all. But to me, it's something that I'm very proudly doing. It should have been done many, many years ago. And we're doing it now. We're doing it very late because we were very foolish.
Inflation is moving modestly higher, but not in an alarming way. And so I think the Fed's cutting cycle is over unless something breaks. And if something breaks, it's usually very bad for investors in the short term. But the Fed will then step back in and do their job at that point in time. But if you're on the Fed board right now, why get involved? Just step back and say, I don't know what's going to happen in regards to tariffs, immigration policies. I'm just going to step back, not cause any trouble, and just be here to pick up the pieces if something does break.
What today I thought was interesting, and you sort of led with it, PPI today was hot by any, and if you'd said to me again, we play the game last night, it's going to come in much hotter than expected. I said the markets is getting lambasted and yields would go even higher. But apparently some components in the PPI that feed into the PCE were soft. So people are really grasping at straws here. I'll say this again. I do think rates are going higher. I'm shocked at how they performed today, but I think this was just a reprieve.
Going to a different economy, and we're going to be learning more about that as we go. But clearly, we're learning that things can be done from remote locations. We're learning that technology can replace people even more than we thought.
We're not going back to the same economy. We're recovering, but to a different economy, and it'll be one that is more leveraged to technology. And I worry that that is going to make it even more difficult than it was for many workers.
In Silicon Valley, and my friends who work in technology know that what we did to the manufacturing workers, we are now going to do to the retail workers, the call center workers, the fast food workers, the truck drivers, and then even bookkeepers, accountants, insurance agents, lawyers, and on through the economy. So what happened to the manufacturing workers is a very clear sign.
And so we'll import Chinese-based CBDC technology. So it's going to be CBDC in a box provided to you by the People's Bank of China. But every stock, every bond, every currency, every commodity, every piece of art, every private business, every piece of real estate will eventually be a token on a blockchain, an entry on a ledger, permanent and immutable. We will have truth instead of trust, and we will save over $7 trillion a year. 6 to 8% of global GDP is wasted by the friction of the trust industry that's necessary when you have dual entry accounting. With triple entry accounting, which is what a blockchain is, we get rid of all of that friction. It's a beautiful future.
Like what you see in China and their social credit scoring systems, right? If we get identity wrong, it could be a tool to enslave humanity. And if we get it right, it could be a tool to liberate humanity. And as an American, I'm obviously rooting for the one that's on the side of freedom.
Bitcoin is an international asset. And also, I do believe the role of crypto is, it's digitizing gold.
I actually believe this technology is going to be very important. Look at it. We have been part of a huge revolution in investing through ETFs. We believe that ETFs will be changing the whole way we invest. Many people still use it as a means, people are investing it for indexing. No, the majority of people who are putting money in in ETFs are active investors that are buying exposure. The entire bond market is being transformed as we talk right now. I believe the next generation for markets, the next generation for securities will be tokenization of securities. And if we could have that distributed ledger that we know every beneficial owner, every beneficial seller, we all have our code of who's buying, who's selling, instantaneous settlement. And think about it, it changes the whole ecosystem.
Chinese bank ICBC has been hit by a ransomware attack, and the U.S. Treasury market, as a result of that, has been disrupted. This, according to the Financial Times. We're going to get more right now with Bloomberg's Shonali Bassick. Shonali, what do we know?
Listen, we have the Financial Times now reporting that ICBC, one of China's largest banks here, was hit with a ransomware attack. And remember, they're a very significant intermediary in the Treasury market. The SIFMA has told its members that this has been part of the reason here that the system is kind of clogged up, if you will, during that auction that we saw a little bit before. The attack had prevented ICBC, according to the Financial Times, from settling Treasury trades on behalf of other market participants. A large executive at a major bank also telling the paper that such a large party on the fixed income clearing corp creates major concerns, potentially impacting the liquidity of Treasury markets.
Now, it was not just a poor auction. It was absolutely lousy, and when the dealers have to step in to save a treasury auction, that's a rare occurrence.
Cryptoteacher and the New World Order book, plus the 3 Kids books. It's time to re-educate. Also, new to cryptos, Coinbase, Bitrue, Binance. Do not forget book links and crypto links are in the description. The stock channel, guys. Don't forget to go like, subscribe, spread everywhere. You have your Kobo, your chip stocks, your banking, your gaming. While everybody's sitting at home, get home stocks, the Seaver, the biotech stocks. And while everybody's at home wishing they were still getting that free money, what are they doing? Drinking and smoking weed. Don't forget about those stocks, and you have a wonderful day. The most powerful person in the world is the storyteller. The storyteller sets the vision, values, and agenda of an entire generation to come. Steve Jobs. And guys, you know I truly believe in this. When you look at the New World Order, they're the storytellers. And that's the reason why I wrote my New World Order book. But guys, now it's time to change the current generation. And I wrote 3 kids books. You know I love the Trinity because I understand the power that's in it. So I have 3 books. We have an opportunity to change the generation, to educate, not just me, but I want to show you that I take action on a daily basis. And I want you to take action on a daily basis. Whether it's your job, whether it's in your community, we have an opportunity right now to educate the masses. I posted this on my Twitter account. Please share, but this is a short clip of the 3 books. There's going to be a clothing line and action figures. Please get these books for your kids, nephews, cousins, friends, so therefore we can start the re-education now. Because as we see, the 4th Industrial Revolution foundation is definitely here. Robots, algorithms, drones, taking humanity out the picture. We have to re-educate. But let's get into the video.
Part 1. King Joshua and Grandma Tam save the village. Part 2. King Joshua and Grandma Tam save New York from COVID Stories 3. Part 3. King Joshua and Grandma Tam goes to China.
It's mandatory to get part 1, part 2, and part 3 of this series. It's time to re-educate Generation Z.